Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. Did you see on Tuesday? Well, it was really Monday into Tuesday. Did you see what happened with Missouri Athletics? Missouri Athletics got an insane contribution to their athletic department. In total, 68 or 62. Let me make sure I got the numbers right here. Missouri Athletics got a one-time donation of $62 million. Sound like Dr. Evil. $62 million to Missouri Athletics. $50 million are going to a stadium renovation. $12 million are going to the teams. Wink, wink, probably mostly going to NIL. And I'll tell you, I do think this one made a little bit of shockwaves across college sports because of the number, because of the money, and because of the fact that some of that money is going directly to the players. And by the way, those are the rules. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it certainly caught everybody's attention. First off, the number is staggering, okay? 62 million total. 50 million in renovations, 12 million to the general fund, okay? But I saw this. That 62 million is more than the last 2 years' donations combined. That is insane in and of itself. The 12 million to basically fund NIL, if that's where Missouri puts it, that is insane as well. First off, you read reports, you talk to people in the know, kind of in that NIL space, they'll tell you about 12 to 15 million dollars is what it takes to build a championship level football team, to get elite players, retain the players you want, and then bring in elite recruits behind them. And so listen, Missouri might not quite be there yet. I think they're going to be pretty good going into next year. I have them in my preseason top 10, but at the same time, it certainly ain't going to help them, or it certainly ain't going to hurt them in retaining the players they want. And frankly, bringing in maybe even some new players in the spring portal, things like that. Beyond that, and we've actually talked about this a little bit, I think Missouri is uniquely built to have a ton of success in this post-NIL world. We've talked about this, but it is worth noting. Missouri has maybe the most unique state law as it pertains to NIL. And I bring it up because I think when we think NIL, we think Miami or Texas A&M. Missouri might be positioned to be as good as any of them. Because remember, every state has its own laws. And Missouri has the most unique law on the board. That law, which we talked about when five-star Ryan Wingo was down to Texas and Missouri. Ryan Wingo was a five-star wide receiver in this previous recruiting class. He ended up choosing Texas. But we talked about the fact that Missouri's law is fascinating. The law is as follows. High school recruits in the state of Missouri can get NIL as long as and only if they sign with a state school. Okay. So think about that. So think about, first of all, this is why NIL drives coaches crazy. And we're going to talk about that in a minute, is that 50 different states have 50 different laws. Some states, you can't pay high school players at all. Remember, that's why Quinn Ewers ended up reclassifying and coming to college football a year early. He's like, I'm leaving 7 figures on the table by not coming to college. Texas at the time, I don't know if it's changed, did not have NIL with their high school players. Other states, you're allowed to pay high school players. Missouri, you're only allowed to pay high school players if they sign with the in-state school. And it's worth noting, as soon as they sign, they can collect NIL. So you're a high school basketball star in the state of Missouri, you commit to Missouri, you sign in November, they could drop a check, they could drop a direct deposit that day. And so it's a unique law. And now they have the money to back it up. And so it's a really interesting time. This is a very interesting story. And I think Missouri is kind of uniquely built to have a lot of success in this future iteration of the SEC, both in football and in basketball. Now, again, we don't know if all this money is going to go to football. Maybe some of it goes to the Olympic sports, but my guess is a lot of it is going to go to football. And when I look at the future of the SEC, listen, I think it's going to be tough to crack that upper tier, except for 3 or 4 schools, Texas, Alabama, Georgia, LSU, maybe Oklahoma, whatever. But you talk about that next group that can consistently be knocking on the door, that can consistently finish every year or two, every 2-3 years in the top 2 or 3 and potentially end up in that 12-team college football playoff. Missouri was already well positioned, but this NIL stuff really helps. Now a bag just got dropped. $12 million to the Missouri Athletic Department just for NIL. Again, $50 million for football renovations as well. So enjoy that if you're a Missouri fan. But I think the $12 million deal, $12 million money, that's a lot of money, and it can go a long way in the NIL world.